5 months until the presidential election. Our partners over at 538 have just released their 2024 election forecast.
Boy, time is flying. Here to break it all down for us is ABC political director Rick Klein. Rick, always good to see you. But before we get into it, what's the difference between forecasting and poll results?
Yeah, so polls just ask people who you're going to vote for. Forecasts try to take into account other factors like the state of the economy overall, approval ratings, and also as you get closer to an election, the polls tend to align a little more closely because it's not a hypothetical anymore. So what 538 does is to take polling averages and a whole lot of other factors and say, okay, based on all this, what's the likelihood that candidate X wins or candidate Y wins?
So what is their forecast showing us about what we can expect this year?
The big reveal. So look, when they've crunched the numbers and they've run hundreds of different simulations, and what they found is that 53 out of 100 times on average, Joe Biden wins the presidency. So all those dots there are different outcomes. Some of them reflect big landslides, either for Biden or for Trump. But you see everything sort of clustering in the middle there because it is a close race. I mean, for all intents and purposes, 53 out of 100 is a coin flip. That's basically where the polls are as well. But any of these scenarios is possible, and I think the range of scenarios probably tightens as you get closer because there's less unpredictable events.
And with a close race, what does it tell us about battleground states?
Yeah, well, this is fascinating. I mean, the reason the Electoral College ends up being so close is because the battlegrounds are so close. And there are basically 7 battlegrounds that we've been tracking throughout this race. And if you look at those, Joe Biden is leading in a couple of them, just barely enough to win the presidency. He is up in Pennsylvania, he is up in Michigan, he is up in Wisconsin, but it's a very close race in all those places. The other battlegrounds, at least for right now, have Donald Trump winning. Those include some of the Sun Belt states, some of the southern states like Georgia and North Carolina. So if that holds, you're talking about the barest of majorities, maybe exactly 270 electoral votes, which is the number you need to win to clinch the presidency.
We've heard from so many voters they don't like either of these candidates.
Yeah.
There is a third-party candidate this go around, RFK Jr. How do you think he will factor into all of this?
Yeah, so 538 ran the numbers on this, and they see almost no chance, basically zero chance that Kennedy or any other third-party candidate wins the presidency. But this is interesting. They see a 2 in 3 chance that Kennedy and others are going to get enough votes to potentially make up the difference in those battleground states. So in a Pennsylvania, a Wisconsin, a Michigan, very likely that third-party candidates get enough votes to potentially swing the election one way or the other. Of course, the one way or the other is the question. It's not clear if he necessarily hurts Trump or hurts Biden, but definitely the possibility to be a spoiler.
All right, summer's around the corner, and I mean literally around the corner. We got some big events coming up, political conventions. Picking a VP, what is your forecast telling us? Yeah,
and we've got the first debate just 2 weeks away. We also have Donald Trump's sentencing right ahead of the convention. This has been an unbelievably stable race. We've seen this within a point or so in the polls for a long, long time. But there are big things that start to happen in the next couple of weeks that could start to shift the dynamics. And for Joe Biden and Donald Trump both, this is a time where you have to define yourself. Even though everyone kind of knows who they are, what do they stand for, and what does the contrast look like? We start to get a taste of that in the next couple of weeks.
It's going to get really interesting. Rick Klein, always so great to have you. And for more on 538's election forecast, use the QR code right there at the bottom of your screen. Again, Rick, thank you.
Thanks, guys.